gives this woman to this man in marriage? On behalf of the Chiotti and Hatfield families, I would like to welcome you all today. Please take a seat. And I would like to invite all the bridesmaids at this time to turn off their cell phones, put them on vibrate, whatever. I want to say a couple words about a few people who aren't with us here today. Justin's grandparents, Martha and Ambrose, who could not make the trip. They are missed. A couple big seats at our table that will be empty today. Should have been for Jim and Denise, who were taken from us way too soon in this life. May the good Lord rest their souls. And a special shout out to Casey's two grandparents, Ray and Tink, who have preceded us to their heavenly reward. And I knew Tink pretty well, and I know beyond a doubt that he is with us here in spirit today. I know there's no way in the world he would miss a party like the one that's about to go off over here. There's probably a number of you out there who are wondering what in the heck I am doing up here. And I could just briefly explain that a little bit. My history with the Hatfields goes back about 40 years. And in Casey's life in particular, I have actual photographic evidence that on or around her first birthday, I introduced her to a couple of the great joys of life that she continues to enjoy today, those being hiking and full-bodied red wine. Before that, BC as it were, I spent many an evening at our swanky apartment in South Eugene while Tinker and Jackie were in the other room busily working on a project which would ultimately, a couple of years later, result in the actual conception of Casey. Before that, I was very blessed, along with Tom and a few other people, to have been welcomed into Sharon and Tink's home in Halsey. They basically opened their doors to us and treated us as one of their own. It was a beautiful example for us, an attitude towards life and friendship and loved ones that Tinker and Jackie have certainly carried on all these many years in their own home. Some people say that there are no coincidences in life, that everything is part of some large preordained cosmic scheme. And along those lines, I think there's a couple interesting facts about this couple here today that many of you may not know. The parents of this couple, Sue and Chuck, Tinker and Jackie, were actually married on the same day, both couples. Justin was born in the same hospital out in Hillsboro where Tinker had been born some 60 years earlier. And Casey was actually born mere hours after Justin the next day. So, now I'd like to tell a little bit about how they first met. It was at a bar in downtown Portland one night. They were, Justin was with his friend, Casey was with her friend, and they saw each other across the room. They exchanged a few coy glances and a few words, and Justin developed this pretty severe drooling problem at that point. Casey and her friend then wandered off downtown and went to a different bar. Later on that night, call it fate or not, Justin and his friend ended up in the same bar. Sparks flew. They drank and danced the night away, etc., etc. In the meantime, though, between those two bars, Casey, the consummate researcher, had already downloaded his high school transcripts, career batting average, and his Facebook status. So they've been dating about 8.5 years now, and Justin has built a great career and lifestyle for himself in San Diego. Casey's career has literally taken her all over the West. Though they were apart for long periods of time, their love continued to grow steadily. And this was mostly back in the olden days before we had Skype. And the steady perseverance that they had in growing the relationship over this long period of time, to me, somehow speaks of something just so much more substantial than the norm in these days when we're just so deeply into our instant gratification culture. In the end, following their own inner beacon, all lingering doubts having long since dissipated, and the magnitude of their love for each other having become the single defining element of their relationship, they found themselves here today with all of us in this magnificent place and time, formally join their lives together. It's a moment I know few of us will ever forget. And I've been tempted in the last couple of days to sort of think of this whole event as a sort of a culmination or a finale, as it were. It really is, of course, just the beginning of their life together, and what incredible promise that life holds. And now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Casey's cousin, Riley Hatfield, who's going to perform for us over here a song by Patty Griffin called Heavenly Day.